Have you ever heard of Mithridatism? It's the practice of protecting yourself from a poison by gradually self-administering non-lethal amounts. It sounds like something straight out of a fantasy novel, right? But what if I told you there is a historical legend of a queen who supposedly did just that? A queen who drank poison every single day, building up an immunity that would one day save her life, but also lead to her tragic end. Today, we're diving into the incredible story of Mithridates VI, often called the Poison King, and the legendary queen who followed in his footsteps. The story begins not with a queen, but with her father, Mithridates VI of Pontus, a kingdom in ancient Anatolia, modern-day Turkey. He reigned in the 1st century BC and was one of Rome's most formidable and relentless enemies. But his fear wasn't just of Roman legions on the battlefield. It was a much more personal, insidious threat: poison. In the cutthroat world of ancient royalty, assassination by poison was terrifyingly common. In fact, Mithridates' own father was poisoned at a banquet. This event haunted him, planting a seed of paranoia that would shape his entire life. Determined not to suffer the same fate, Mithridates began a lifelong obsession with toxicology. He didn't just study poisons, he experimented with them. He gathered a vast collection of toxic plants and animal venens. He tested them on criminals, meticulously documenting their effects. But his most daring experiment was on himself. He started ingesting tiny, sublethal doses of various poisons, gradually increasing the amount over time. He believed that by doing this, his body would develop a tolerance, an immunity, that would make him invincible to any assassin's attempt. He even created a legendary universal antidote, a secret concoction of dozens of ingredients, known as Mithridatum. He took a dose of this every single day, a ritual to keep death at bay. Now, let's fast forward to our queen. The legend often attaches itself to several female figures, but it's most powerfully associated with one of his daughters. Let's call her Drypetus, a name fitting for a princess of that era. Growing up in her father's court, she would have been surrounded by this culture of fear and fascination with poison. Imagine seeing your father, the king, start his day not with a meal, but with a carefully measured dose of a potentially deadly substance. She would have learned from a young age that the world was a dangerous place, and that power was a magnet for betrayal. According to the legend, inspired or perhaps commanded by her father, this princess began the same dangerous regimen. Every day, she would ingest a small amount of poison. Perhaps it started with a drop of hemlock in her wine, or a pinch of arsenic in her food. Day after day, week after week, month after month. It must have been a terrifying ordeal. Each dose was a gamble. A slight miscalculation, a moment of carelessness, and it could be her last. She would have likely experienced nausea, pain, and constant sickness as her body fought against the toxins. But she persevered, her body slowly, painfully, adapting. Over the years, her system became a fortress. Poisons that would kill an ordinary person in minutes might only give her a mild stomachache. She became, in essence, immune. She had turned her father's paranoia into her own personal shield. She had weaponized her own body against the very threats that defined her world. In a court filled with whispers and shadows, she held a secret power that no one could see. She was the living embodiment of her father's life's work. This unique skill wasn't just for defense. Think about the political power it gave her. She could share a cup of wine with a suspected rival without fear. She could eat at any banquet, hosted by friend or foe, with an unnerving confidence. Her immunity became a legend in itself, a whispered rumor that made her seem untouchable, almost supernatural. It was a powerful deterrent. Who would dare try to poison a woman who was said to be immune to poison? It was the ultimate psychological weapon. But, as with all great tragedies, her greatest strength would become her greatest weakness. The story takes its dark turn with the fall of her father's kingdom. After decades of war, the formidable Mithridates was finally defeated by the Roman general Pompey the Great. Cornered, his kingdom in ruins, and facing the ultimate humiliation of being paraded through the streets of Rome in chains, Mithridates chose to end his own life. He tried to poison himself. He, the Poison King, the man who had spent a lifetime mastering toxicology, took a potent dose that should have killed him instantly. But it didn't work. His years of building immunity had been too successful. His body had become so accustomed to poison that it simply refused to succumb. In a cruel twist of fate, his life's work had robbed him of his final escape. Frustrated and desperate, he was forced to ask his loyal bodyguard and friend to kill him with a sword. Our queen faced a similar tragic fate. After the kingdom's collapse, she and her sisters were captured by the Romans. For a woman of royal blood in the ancient world, captured by an enemy meant a fate worse than death. It meant enslavement, humiliation, and being used as a political pawn. Like her father, she saw only one honorable way out. She chose to die on her own terms, a free woman, rather than live as a Roman captive. She reached for the poison she always carried, the same substance she had relied on for years. It was her old, familiar friend, the source of her secret strength. She consumed the lethal dose, expecting a quick and painless end. And she waited, and waited. But nothing happened. Just like her father, her meticulously built immunity, the shield she had spent a lifetime crafting, now became her prison. The very thing that was meant to protect her from her enemies prevented her from escaping them. The poison didn't work. It couldn't kill her. In that moment of horrifying realization, she understood the ultimate irony of her life. She had conquered poison, only to be conquered by her own victory. The legends don't always agree on her final moments. Some say, like her father, she had to beg a loyal servant to end her life with a blade. Others say she was captured and suffered the fate she so desperately tried to avoid. But in every version, the core of the tragedy is the same. The queen who drank poison every day finally found that it worked. It had made her so immune, so strong, that it denied her the one thing she needed most at the end, a final, dignified escape. It's a powerful and haunting story, a testament to the idea that sometimes the very things we build to protect ourselves can become our own cages. Whether this story of the Poison Queen is historical fact or a legend woven around the real-life Mithridates, it has captivated people for centuries. It's a dark fairy tale about power, fear, and the unpredictable consequences of trying to master nature itself. What do you think? Could someone really become immune to poison like this? It's a fascinating question that scientists still debate today. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into the past. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more historical deep dives, and ring that notification bell. Let me know in the comments what other historical legends you'd like me to explore. Until next time, stay curious.